What's up, guys? I wanted to make this video talk about why some of you might not want to buy the Harley maintenance service. I'm going to talk about a specific situation that happened to me that might be applicable to some of you, and it could cost you, thousands of dollars, which ended up costing me. So, first and foremost, I want to say actually why you should get the Harley service, the maintenance service. And that would primarily be for people who are trying to buy a peace of mind for the next 3 years or their next 6 services. They don't want to do any mechanical work, or they have no background in doing any mechanical work, or simply they don't mind, paying the price to get guaranteed work done for these maintenance services. They just don't want to think about it, pay it up, go to get your services, and then you don't have to deal with anything 3 years later, 6 services later. Then you can figure out what you want to do later. That's kind of what I thought I was trying to do. I bought my Harley Lowrider S in 2023. At the time that I bought it, the bike was overpriced. I didn't really get a good deal on it. That's kind of my fault, honestly. I could have just waited, but I wanted the bike then and there. I wanted that specific, white sand pearl. And I got the bike. The deal was kind of bad. Interest rate was high, whatnot. So they tried to work something out with me, and basically they sold me 3 years of services or 6 services, whichever comes first, for $2,100. Now that seems like a lot, but actually that's like a really good deal, given that they actually sell those services starting somewhere at like $3,400. The package, right? Each service, I think, costs somewhere between $450 to like $700, depending on the type of bike you have, and if it's like a minor or a major service. Well, I ended up buying my bike in Oakland, California, and I ended up taking advantage of my first 2 services. So if you know anything about these services, the first one, there's not much that needs to be done. It's like at 500-600 miles. Second one I did was my 5,000 mile service, but I did it kind of early. I did it at like 3,000 miles. Actually, they called me. They said, hey, it's before summer, you want to get your bike ready, blah, 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 blah. You already paid for these services. Might as well just do it a little early. So I said, okay, I'll do it. Well, this is where I think the service does not pay off. I ended up moving to Texas. And when it was time for me to do my 10K service, I went to a dealership in Texas, and they pretty much said, well, you don't have a maintenance service prepaid. And I said, yes, I do in California. And they said, well, that's only at that dealership in California. And I said, okay, so I can't use it here? And they said, no. They said, you can, however, cancel that service and purchase a new service from us. That would be another 6 services or another 3 years, and we can cut you a deal, and we can offer it to you if you pay cash and whatever, and $2,800. And I said, absolutely not, because I already paid $2,100 first time around. Now $2,800, you're looking at $4,500, just under $4,500 of maintenance services. I mean, these are basically oil changes, transmission oil, doing certain checks, maybe bleeding your brakes. But like a lot of this stuff you can do on your own. And 60% of it is just torquing down, certain bolts and nuts, and just checking things, right? If they operate properly. So I decided not to do that, and I decided to cancel my maintenance service from Oakland, California. Well, I was hoping that, if I only use two two of my services out of the 6, or that I've, used a year and a half or so of the service, and there's still a year and a half left, that I might receive partial refund, which they actually informed me in my email that, I would be refunded. Well, not me directly, but my financing bank would be refunded a certain amount because I am still financing the bike. So I said, okay, great. That money goes towards my principal. I have less to pay off on the bike. Well, they called me back and they said, basically, they work with a third party that sells these maintenance packages, and due to a prorated rate plus the discount, blah 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 blah, jargon, actually they don't owe me any money. As a matter of fact, Harley owes that third party like $700 because I canceled. So if you can imagine, I'm pretty stressed about that because I paid $2,100 for 2 oil changes. 2 oil changes. What did I decide to do for maintenance? Well, I ended up going to Harbor Freight. I bought a motorcycle lift myself. Bought, synthetic oil. Bought my air filters. All the gasket, all that stuff. I ended up purchasing and downloading a PDF copy of the Softail service manual that literally goes step by step through every single one of these maintenance services that you can do at home. And I've done a ton of research on YouTube, watching numerous mechanics go through these maintenance services. I already completed a 10K service on my own, and I feel very good about that. I feel very confident that I did the job right. If there's anything more complex to do that I'm not comfortable with, I will take it to Harley and request that they do that one thing, right? So that I would pay less. Let's say I'm not comfortable bleeding my own, brakes. I might take that to a Harley shop or the dealership. And just have them do that, right? So I don't have to pay $600-700 for these guys to be literally torquing down my, nuts and bolts. Which I have torque wrenches, I have tools. A lift kit or a lift, motorcycle lift cost me like $500 from Harbor Freight. I bought another chalk for it. That was around like $100 that I upgraded. So I own basically my own mechanic shop for under $1,000, and these guys want to charge me $3,400, $3,500, $3,600 to do 6 oil changes, basically. Everything else is kind of an extra. You do have to do certain checklist items from their maintenance service schedule and all that stuff. But I just think it's just a ridiculous amount of money that they request for these maintenance services, and then for them not to honor these refunds if you do decide to move, or you want to, let's say, even if you're within that same state and you go to a different Harley dealership, they might not be part of their same program or their same group. So you're kind of out of luck. So that's why I think that the maintenance service is, I would advise against it if you are at all mechanically inclined or are ready to work on your own bike, or if you just are a mechanic. I mean, if you absolutely know what you're doing, like, this is a total waste of money when you know what you're doing, right? But if you are someone like me that's kind of dabbling with this stuff, like I don't really know about bikes too much, but I'm, I understand tools, I understand, a little bit about engines, and I know how to read, right? I know how to read a book, read their service manual. I know how to watch YouTube videos, follow instructional videos, ask questions, ask millions of questions from everyone. Literally, that's the best university you get to have, is just asking people that are knowledgeable. I found, Facebook groups that I can go to, and, there's specific Facebook group for MA engines, right? So you can go and ask anything regarding these services, and people will be, providing their information. And this is nothing new. I mean, people have been doing maintenance on their bikes for 30, 40 years, right? And they are on Facebook talking about it and informing others, and that's free education. So I say, empower yourself with your own tools, your lift, and do your own maintenance. Do not buy their maintenance service unless, like I said, you just want the peace of mind. You don't want to touch your bike. You just want to ride. You rather just have them, fix everything, maintain everything, keep it within the warranty and all that stuff. Then by all means go for it. But I would say stay with that one shop that whole 3 years, because other dealership might not honor that same maintenance plan that you purchased. And that's all I got to say about that. Thanks.